Listen, this one truth will change how you move. Attraction grows in the spaces you make, not the favors you give. Stop thinking charm is a checklist. It's an atmosphere. You are not convincing someone to want you. You are becoming someone worth wanting. That starts with presence that doesn't scream for attention. Presence that fills a room quietly. Presence that doesn't collapse when her interest wavers. Most men hustle for validation. They scramble for reactions and count replies like trophies. When you chase acknowledgement, you hand over the scoreboard. You don't announce your value. You live it. Show up to your day as if she's a guest in it, not the host. Build mornings that are about discipline and momentum. Make calls that matter. Train with purpose. Create work that pulls you out of bed. When your life contains meaning, your absence becomes a weight. People feel weight. They feel gravity. Scarcity here isn't a petty trick. It's a boundary. A clear line that says your time isn't free and your energy isn't disposable. Confidence isn't loud. It's tight. It's measured. It doesn't beg. It doesn't over-explain. It takes up space without demanding applause. That kind of confidence makes others lean in. When your center is solid, you stop being someone anyone can pick up and set down. Access becomes a privilege, not an expectation. Treat it like one. Show up when you mean it. Walk away when you don't. Answer when it matters. Everything else is noise. Generosity is not equal to availability. Give because you choose to, not because you fear loss. Availability is default. Generosity is deliberate. When you align your actions to purpose, attention becomes scarce and therefore valuable. People learn to respect what they can't always get. That includes your time and attention. Hold back. Create a margin between who you are and who you reveal. You don't need to narrate every thought. You don't need to explain every silence. Speak with economy. Reply with rhythm. Keep parts of yourself private, not as deception but as standards. Curiosity is an engine. When you refuse to be fully readable, her mind starts to work for you. She replays, she wonders, she invests effort where before she was handed answers. This isn't about manipulation. It's about building a life that doesn't hinge on someone else's mood. Be fulfilled when she's present. Be unshaken when she's gone. That balance is magnetic. People want the calm more than the drama. Become the calm. Make yourself indispensable to your own journey first. Become the man whose day doesn't derail because someone else texts. When you are whole, your absence means something. That meaning becomes the engine of desire. You become rare not by hiding but by valuing what you bring. Stop chasing. Start commanding. Keep sharpening your routine, your mind, your body. Let silence be a test she must pass. When she learns that your presence must be earned, her pursuit will follow, inevitably with respect. Stop proving yourself. Need broadcasts weakness. Men believe doing more equals getting more. They text first, plan every date, solve problems that aren't theirs to fix. That constant forward motion looks like hunger, not strength. When you behave like you lack, people sense it immediately. Need creates distance, not closeness. You are not responsible for convincing someone to care. Your job is to be reliable to your standards, not to someone else's timeline. Perform your life with integrity. Show up to commitments. Honor your word. Do the things that demand discipline. When you fail, own it and move on. Integrity builds inner value. Integrity is silent currency. Pull the thread of your attention back to yourself. Reinvest in pursuits that expand your world. Learn hard skills. Read books that make you more interesting. Train your body until it mirrors your discipline. Start projects that require patience. The more you build, the less you grovel for applause. Purpose is louder than pleading. Make time a metric of value. Schedule your life like a contract. Block mornings for growth and protect them. If someone's presence conflicts with your highest priorities, the choice becomes clear. You keep the priority. This doesn't make you cruel. It makes you discerning. People respect men who guard their time like a resource, not a campaign to win affection. Stop confusing kindness with availability. Kindness is a deliberate act. Availability is passive surrender. Be generous selectively. Give where it matters, to people who reciprocate or earn your energy. Learn the difference between investing and sponsoring. Give where you see return beyond the immediate. That return isn't always reciprocation. Sometimes it's mutual growth, alignment, or a deeper connection. Hold standards in conversation. Don't reply to every provocation. Don't justify feelings you've already processed. When someone pushes your buttons, observe the push. Let the moment reveal character. Respond with clarity, not reaction. Silence can be a response more honest than any line you could craft. Use it to calibrate the dynamic. Boundaries are the map of your value. Declare the limits of acceptable behavior with calm firmness. If someone crosses a line, enforce consequences without drama. Men who wander aimlessly in other people's moods become weather vanes. Men who lead with boundaries create climates people come to rely on. That reliability breeds respect. Let absence be the test you don't fail. If your presence is taken for granted, retreat into your life without guilt. Show that your attention is contingent on consistency. When you return, be unchanged by the drama that tried to shake you. That steady return speaks more than 1,000 explanations. Remember, status is earned by what you refuse to do as much as by what you deliver. The man who stops chasing becomes the man others pursue because he radiates enough self-containment to demand it. When you stop competing for attention, you become the prize. That shift begins when you stop proving and start becoming. Keep your standards clear, your actions consistent, and your silence purposeful. Let her decide if she wants to enter a life where attention is earned or walk away gracefully. Here's the real engine: curiosity. If she can map you in a minute, she moves on in a minute. Keep some of your territory off the map. Let parts of your life remain a locked room she wants the key to. When a man is fully legible, he stops being interesting. When he keeps some pages folded, she starts to read deeper. Don't hand over your story in the first act. Let your life reveal itself slowly. Drop details like breadcrumbs, not a trail. When you share selectively, you control the momentum. You decide when the temperature rises. You decide when she gets a glimpse and when she doesn't. That gap is gasoline. Be economical with information. Say less, mean more. Short answers with weightier meaning create questions she can't ignore. Long confessions kill mystery. A half-told anecdote becomes a hook. A measured pause becomes an invitation. Use timing like a sculptor uses a chisel. Remove everything unnecessary until only the shape remains. Make your rhythms unpredictable. Sometimes reply quickly. Sometimes reply hours later. Sometimes you show up with an effortless presence. Sometimes you're unavailable. The pattern shouldn't be random cruelty, it should be intentional variance. Variability makes her brain track you. Predictability makes it turn off. Let contradictions exist. Be warm in person and reserved in text. Be generous with attention in moments that count and sting in moments that don't. These contrasts create emotional tension. Tension breeds investment. Investment breeds memory. Memory fuels obsession. Cultivate pockets of silence. Not because you're testing her, but because you have parts of your life that deserve quiet. When you let silence sit, it becomes meaningful. It forces interpretation. She will invent reasons. Those invented reasons usually make her feel more connected to you than the truth ever could. Avoid full disclosure. Full disclosure makes you common. Keep your core intentions private. Share goals, not anxieties. Share wins, not explanations. When you reveal purpose, you invite respect. When you reveal fear, you invite caretaking, and caretaking flattens desire. Use absence wisely. Quiet absence isn't abandonment. It's a way to measure priority. If she returns with curiosity instead of chaos, she's engaging the puzzle. If she returns with drama, she hasn't solved it, she's reacting to emptiness. Reward curiosity. Ignore panic. Make your presence feel like a prize. Show up with energy, not entitlement. When she meets you again, be more concentrated, not more available. That refined presence tells her your attention is not a given. It demands appreciation. Don't let social media narrate you. Post less. Let your offline life do the talking. When your highlights aren't broadcast, curiosity grows. People want what they can't see. Remove the footlights and watch interest turn inward. Remember the old truth: effort creates value. If she's doing mental work to understand you, she's invested. Investment is the foundation of attachment. Design moments that invite that work. Use stories that hint at depth. Use silence that forces reflection. Build enough mystery that she chooses to look closer. This isn't manipulation. It's architecture. You're shaping how she experiences you by curating what she can access. Don't confuse kindness with transparency. Be kind, be opaque where it counts. Give her reasons to come forward rather than reasons to take you for granted. That tension is not cruelty. It's the force that turns someone from casual interest into a driven pursuit. Control the supply of your attention and you control the value of your presence. When your time is rare, people stop treating it like background noise. They stop assuming you exist to serve their emotional needs. Rarity creates demand because it forces choices, and choices reveal priorities. Show up fully in moments that deserve your energy. Give real presence to the face in front of you. Make the time you spend meaningful by removing distractions and honoring the moment. When you are engaged, make it count. When you are gone, make the gap obvious. Silence should register. Your absence should weigh heavier than your presence once did. Don't confuse being kind with being limitless. Kindness has edges. It chooses who receives it and on what terms. Open hands that never close invite complacency. People need to earn the right to your attention through consistent behavior. That right is not permanent, it is conditional. Make people prove they belong. Treat unpredictability as a tool, not a weapon. Withdraw attention from chaos and give it to steadiness. Let inconsistent behavior be the reason you step back. If someone moves toward you with drama, move away with calm. If they show up with integrity, show up too, but without losing yourself in the exchange. Reward patterns, penalize volatility. Create a policy for your time. Decide what you will tolerate and what you will not. Decide how you'll respond to flakiness, to excuses, to late-night apologies. Enforce those rules without theatrics. Consequences should be quiet and consistent. The most powerful boundaries are boring, they are steady, predictable, and immovable. Make your return conditional on demonstration. When you come back into someone's life, let them prove the shift has substance. Don't reopen access because of sweetness or promises. Open it because they show change through action. Require more than words, require consistency. If the pattern repeats, close the door again. Use your calendar as armor. Schedule commitments that matter and treat them like sacred appointments. If another person's behavior clashes with what you've scheduled, the default answer is your plan. People who respect themselves protect their routines. People who respect you will not ask you to break them for a momentary mood. Silence is a refinement tool. The space you create tests the intent behind signals. Panic makes noise, real interest shows direction. If your absence produces frantic reach-outs, that tells you the other person acted from habit rather than conviction. If it produces thoughtful attempts to align, that tells you there's genuine care. Be firm without malice. Boundaries are not weapons, they're maps. They guide people toward acceptable behavior. If someone cannot navigate your map, that's their failure, not a judgment on your worth. Hold the line and keep your life moving forward. Remember, value is felt, not explained. When attention becomes conditional instead of automatic, it's suddenly noticed. You don't have to perform scarcity to make it work. You simply have to live a life where your attention is an earned currency, distributed sparingly and invested wisely. That is how respect is built and where desire begins. Stay sovereign. Detachment isn't coldness, it's an unshakable center. You keep your composure because your equilibrium is non-negotiable. Tests will come, your response proves the frame. When someone escalates, lower the volume. When they provoke, answer with calm actions rather than frantic words. The rare man understands that reaction hands away authority. Control your breath before you control the conversation. A collected inhale buys you a deliberate reply. Pause long enough for the moment to clarify itself. Silence is often the cleanest answer. It removes fuel from the fire and forces the other person to show substance instead of theatrics. That's how you separate noise from intent. Never bargain your peace for a moment of validation. If an argument tempts you to win approval, step back. Winning a point is meaningless if it costs your dignity. Walk toward steady rather than toward vindication. Your reputation is built on how you behave when pressure rises, not on what you shout in the peak of emotion. Let tests illuminate character. If someone tries to provoke you to see if you will crumble, treat the attempt like a measure of their maturity. Respond by staying the same man you were before the test. Consistency is a kind of insistence. It teaches them what you require and what you refuse. Refuse the reflex to fix every crack. Some problems resolve with time or with choices others must make. You cannot be the architect of someone else's self-work. Offer support when alignment exists. Withhold rescue when patterns repeat. Teaching through absence is not punishment, it's clarity. You are not a performance. You do not need to rehearse restraint. Let composure be organic. Practice presence in daily small things so steadiness appears natural under stress. Train your mind to prefer calm. Train your body to default to balance. Muscle memory for silence will save you from impulsive exits and pointless arguments. Hold your boundaries without theatrics. Quiet enforcement beats dramatic ultimatums. Remove permission gently but absolutely. If a line is crossed, let consequence follow calmly. People respect rules that are predictable. When boundaries wobble, so does respect. Solid limits are less about anger and more about clarity of expectation. Use non-reaction as a tool for influence. When you don't hand over emotional currency, others must buy it honestly. Their attempts become clearer. Some will prove themselves, others will reveal their pattern. Both outcomes inform your next move. You conserve power while they expose intention. Admirable men remain interested without becoming desperate. Keep curiosity about the person without surrendering your standards. Ask questions when you care. Withdraw when you must. Both moves signal that your attention is conditional and valuable. Remember, true restraint attracts more than dramatic displays. The man who can sit with uncertainty without collapsing becomes magnetic because he models stability. People are drawn to someone who can weather storms without being swept up in them. Be that anchor. Let your silence be a demonstration of strength, not a retreat from responsibility. Keep sharpening internal standards. Let actions, not pleas, set the terms of your connection and preserve your worth every single day without compromise. Make the pattern your signature. Engage fully, then step back deliberately. Learn to alternate closeness with distance so your presence becomes an event, not a constant. People burn out on continuous access. They lean forward when something appears ephemeral. Structure your interactions so they create worth through rhythm. Start with high-quality returns. When you show up, bring energy, focus, and intention. Don't offer surface-level availability, deliver concentrated presence. When the meeting ends, remove yourself from the scene. Let the departure be part of the message. The ebb should contrast the flow. That contrast makes each reunion feel earned. Design routines that require investment. Commit to work, training, and projects that demand time and concentration. These commitments give you legitimate reasons to be scarce. Scarcity rooted in substance is persuasive because it's not a script, it's a life. If you are busy with meaningful pursuits, your avoidance can't be accused of being a tactic. It is simply reality. Vary your tempo. Some weeks are intense, focused, and unavailable. Other moments are open, relaxed, and engaging. Varied tempo prevents habituation. When your tempo never shifts, interest calcifies into expectation. When rhythm exists, curiosity stays active. People track movement, they forget constancy. Make withdrawal proportional to the signal you receive. If someone invests, respond with engagement. If they take without contributing, increase your distance. Let reciprocity govern your energy. This is not revenge, it's calibration. Calibrated withdrawal teaches others how to behave and preserves your resources. Never fake absence. A hollow retreat shows. Authentic unavailability is powered by projects, friendships, and obligations. If you pretend to be busy when you're not, inconsistency will betray you. Do the real work that justifies your schedule. Build a life that fills hours legitimately so your detachment feels natural and weighty. Keep your responses decisive. When you choose to reappear, make it with intention. Don't slip back into constant availability because you enjoy the attention. Reentry should be rare and purposeful. Show that your presence is conditional on respect, alignment, and value. That choice signals leadership, not manipulation. Use unpredictability respectfully. Surprise is not cruelty, it's an instrument of attraction when used with integrity. Alternate warmth with reserve in a way that maintains dignity for both people. Your unpredictability should invite engagement, not fracture trust. Maintain standards even as you shift your approach. Measure consequences, not drama. The rhythm is not a theater piece. It's a maintenance strategy. If someone breaks agreements, let the pattern reflect consequence. If they correct course, restore access. Consistency in consequence breeds trust. Inconsistency breeds chaos. Finally, let the rhythm come from abundance, not lack. Build a schedule that excites you. Fill your days with things that propel you forward. When you live richly, the pauses are honest and magnetic. Rhythm becomes a byproduct of meaning, and meaning is harder to copy than any line in a conversation. Commit to the long game. Short-term flares fade, a steady pattern endures. When your rhythm reflects genuine priorities, attraction deepens into lasting regard. The man who keeps his cadence over years teaches others stability. Consistency is the quiet architecture of respect and sustained desire. When she chases, it's because you changed the emotional terms of engagement. Shift the playing field so she becomes the one doing the work. Make her curiosity labor, not leisure. Let her effort cost something. When desire requires motion, it anchors deeper than any effortless compliment. Don't mistake pursuit for love. Often it's a reaction to absence, not proof of devotion. Watch for the difference. If her reach is consistent, thoughtful, and steady, that signals alignment. If it's frantic, manipulative, or performative, that signals insecurity. Learn to read the texture of attempts, not just the volume. Reward the moves that reflect maturity. When someone initiates with honesty, with clarity, with actions that match words, meet them there. Give them presence that confirms their investment. But resist rescuing those who only practice drama. Let lessons land naturally. Growth must be chosen, not enforced. Make her work emotionally, not by humiliation but by standards. Require proof through deeds. Ask for consistency, not explanations. Let your responses be tied to behaviors, not promises. When she offers alignment, reciprocate. When she offers chaos, withdraw. Cause and effect establishes respect faster than any speech. Hold your frame while she tests its limits. Tests are inevitable, how you respond defines your future. Don't bargain or rationalize. Keep your cool, stick to the rules you set, and let consequences play out. Confidence is letting actions show the boundaries, not arguing for them. Encourage self-reflection by not filling every silence. Sometimes the greatest mirror is the quiet you create. Let her sit with her choices without commentary. Solitude can illuminate patterns. If she wants to change, she'll find that clarity on her own terms. If she refuses, the pattern stays visible. Be generous with praise when it's earned. Authentic affirmation multiplies effort. When she moves toward growth, acknowledge it succinctly. Small confirmations create momentum. But don't inflate inconsistent attempts with validation. Save commendation for the real work. Keep perspective. A person chasing you can still be immature. Don't conflate obsession with compatibility. Long-term relationships require emotional maturity, not just short-term intensity. Use the chase as a filter, not as a trophy. Let it reveal who can sustain the rhythm you live by. Stay curious about what drives her, but detached from outcomes. Ask questions that probe intent. Why do you reach out now? What do you mean by that? How will you show it tomorrow? Curiosity clarifies motives. It prevents projection. Practice repetition of your standards. People respect patterns more than rhetoric. If you require punctuality, insist on it. If you expect honesty, withdraw from lies. Let your non-negotiables become obvious in how you allocate attention. Finally, remember the goal: to build a partnership of equals, not to engineer submission. The chase is a test of willingness to meet your level. When someone chooses you repeatedly with integrity, reciprocate fully. Until then, remain steady, selective, and sovereign. Let the chase sift the noise from the signal. Keep living by your code. Let consequence teach what words cannot. When she learns to meet you there, her choice becomes durable, and that's the only victory that matters truly. If she comes back, treat it like the final exam, not the start of a celebration. Meeting her return with calm sets the tone for what comes next. Don't let a sentimental message rewrite the rules you've lived by. Consistency matters more than apologies. When warmth returns, match it with measured generosity. Offer presence that confirms growth, not desperation. Make your behavior a confirmation of standards, not a reward for theatrics. This keeps value intact and expectations clear. Require proof through repeated choices. One message doesn't overturn a pattern. Look for sustained shifts in behavior before reopening access. Ask for demonstration, not declarations. Actions create trust. Words only accompany them. Respond to returns with clear priorities. Your life didn't pause while she tested the edges. Keep your schedule, commitments, and rituals in place. Re-engage in a way that preserves your agenda. If she's serious, she will accommodate your framework. If she cannot, the mismatch is revealed. Maintain your neutrality in tone. Greet her without drama. Let curiosity replace interrogation. Ask practical questions about change and listen for specifics. Avoid rehashing old wounds. Use the present to measure real progress. Allow reconnection to be gradual. Slow rebuilds expose motives quickly. Fast reconciliations hide true patterns and often lead to repeats. Give time for alignment to prove itself. Use tempo to safeguard your center. Set conditional boundaries for access. If trust was broken, rebuild it with checkpoints. Transparency can be a requirement, not a punishment. Let honesty be the currency of renewed attention. Small, consistent acts beat grand declarations. Don't confuse softness with surrender. Warmth is not a currency to be spent recklessly. Meet vulnerability with guarded generosity. Stay tender but rooted. Let tenderness exist inside the limits you've established. Watch how she accepts consequence. Real change tolerates accountability. If she resists measurable steps toward consistency, her words remain hollow. If she leans into structure and shows up predictably, then reciprocity becomes viable. Keep your friends and routines intact. Reintroducing someone into your life should not mean dissolving the parts of you that mattered. If re-entry demands that you compromise essentials, reconsider. Alignment happens where two lives intersect without erasure. Use gestures sparingly to confirm shifts. Small, meaningful acts communicate trust without lowering standards. Celebrate consistency with a calibrated response. Reward real alignment, not charming excuses. Recognize the difference between comfort and growth. Returning to old dynamics for the sake of familiarity erodes future stability. Prioritize progress over nostalgia. Build forward, not backward. If patterns relapse, act immediately and calmly. Retrace the same consequence steps you set earlier. Repeating the cycle without enforcement undoes everything you built. Stand firm so your standards remain credible. When renewal succeeds, let it arise naturally from mutual effort. The healthiest returns grow from shared work and mutual adaptation. Both parties should carry responsibility for what follows. Finally, remember that reunion is optional, not necessary. Returning does not validate you. It only presents a choice. Choose alignment over reunion. Choose peace over reaction. When you keep that perspective, any return that matters will prove itself through sustained action. Rather than sentimental statements. Choose strength, not nostalgia. This is the part most men never reach. You come back to yourself first, not to someone else's approval. Reclaiming your life isn't a dramatic gesture. It's a steady return to priorities you let slip. You rebuild rituals, reestablish routines, and reinforce what you will no longer tolerate. That inner architecture becomes your compass. Refuse to let validation define your next move. Measure progress by the standards you set, not by anyone's messages. Replace longing with projects. Spend time where results compound: work, health, craft, friendships. Those investments pay dividends that attention never can. Walk away from narratives that make you small. Stop replaying past conversations as if they decide your worth. Memory is not a verdict. Use lessons to refine criteria, not to write confessions. Keep the pages of your next chapter deliberately blank until you can write with clarity. Let your presence be consequence, not gift. Presence should be a considered choice, not an automatic fallback. When you choose to be there, be whole. When you're not, accept that space as the proof of your independence. Let your priorities remain non-negotiable. They are the scaffolding that holds everything else in place. Cultivate emotional stability that doesn't require explanation. People who have it don't seek permission to be at peace. They embody calm because they practice it daily. Meditation, disciplined habits, relentless goals. These supply a steady signal that your center exists regardless of outside noise. Protect your identity from romantic revisionism. Becoming better does not mean rewriting who you are to fit someone else. It means strengthening your baseline so that any relationship that enters your life meets you at the standard you now carry. If it does not, you let it pass without drama. Be willing to lose people who won't match your growth. That willingness is a test you must pass for self-respect. If you cling to comfort at the expense of your standards, you reward mediocrity and stunt your future. Choosing discomfort for the sake of integrity builds character and attracts higher-aligned company. Practice gratitude without attachment. Recognize what you had, but don't use nostalgia as a chain. Appreciate lessons, forgive where needed, then move on with clear eyes. Closure comes from action, not from words spoken by someone else. Create it by living deliberately. Let your social circle reflect who you are becoming. Surround yourself with people who elevate rather than drain. Model the behavior you expect. Leadership is not loud, it's consistent. Your group will mirror your tempo, and that mirror will either push you forward or pull you back. Hold to a long-term view. Quick wins satisfy momentary ego. Sustained growth secures reputation. Build for the next 5 years, not the next conversation. When you plan with horizon in mind, petty drama loses its gravity. Finally, remember the real victory. You become someone whose life is interesting enough that others want to join it. The attraction you create is a byproduct of depth, discipline, and dignity. When your world runs without needing approval, attention becomes optional, and when it does arrive, it comes to someone who already stands complete.